going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 233. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him E. Sitting here on a Sunday, all of a sudden, stormy Austin, Texas, but victorious Austin, Texas as well. Double victorious on our Saturday night. So I'll ask you as I always do. How you feeling, my friend?
I'm doing well, man. That was a fun night last night. What a fun game. Great atmosphere. Super excited for the boys to stamp that win versus Colorado here with this win versus the Red Bulls. And now look at yourself on the table, feeling pretty good about it. And, you know, a Biru goal in the North End always gets me going. That always gets me going.
Yep. We'll talk about Spider Biru here and break down the rest of last night's win, or again, both wins from Saturday night as the second team goes up, gets a rivalry win up there in Arlington. A couple pieces of news to break down as well. And we'll close it out with some some braggadocious nonsense, I think, at the end here, E. But before we get into the rest of episode 233 of the North End Podcast, just want to remind you all listening or watching on the YouTube channel that the best way to support the show, or rather, you can support us financially by downloading the audio versions of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts. So whether that's Apple, Spotify, wherever, you can toggle on auto downloads, and then you can support the show going forward. You don't have to think about it again. You can go the extra mile, rate and review the show wherever you get your podcasts. And if you are watching on the YouTube channel, subscribing to the YouTube channel does help us grow the show. You can hit the notification bell to know when a live stream pops up or a new episode goes live. And of course, here on episode 233, hit the thumbs up, like the video, help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords, and atone for your sins. Wash yourselves clean in the waters of the North End, as a pair of Red Bulls fans did last night. They found out what happens when you stand up and celebrate and antagonize the whole section in the 30th minute or whenever the fuck that was. But that was fun. I hope they had a terrible second half and learned a little bit of a lesson. So before we get into the game last night, let's talk about some of the news. And again, it is rumor season. So thanks to our buddy Verde Nation over there, Logan, grinding the rumor mill in tandem with We Are Austin TV. The latest word on the street is that Manuel Lanzini may be in the sights of Austin FC. So I do want to kind of just relay here on our show what Verde Nation included with this post. Again, if you're watching on the YouTube, you can see the graphic there. He said that the former West Ham player, and Lanzini, I believe, came up through the River Plate Academy. So like our boy Seba, right? But then spent, I believe, 8 seasons with West Ham in the Premier League before coming back to River and playing the last 2 seasons. I think has dealt with some injuries, hasn't quite been able to grab a hold of a consistent starting spot for River. So I think that's where these rumors are coming from, that Lanzini could be on the outs. But Verde Nation does include at the end Austin FC reportedly monitoring his situation. No formal talks have been reported as of yet. So this is still very much on the fringe of the handful of rumors we've talked about over the last few weeks, E. But again, because we are now, I think, 4 league games until the summer window opens. It's July 24th this year is that secondary transfer window. So we are not far away from new players arriving here in Central Texas.
Yeah. So you got to overturn every stone, take a look at all these types of rumors and everything like this. This is more of the profile of the player that, people have been asking for. We've seen Boloko. We've seen, I forgot the other dude's name from
Tutti Andrade.
I remember Tutti and then
Nade.
Yes, and the center back there. So this is more of the profile that people have been looking for with an attacking player like this. Like you mentioned, there's some injuries and stuff like that. 32 years old, but still, I think if he was healthy, that would be a big impact for this team. So something to monitor and keep our eyes on.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, a chance creator on paper, but 32 years old now. I know some fans, and I think I might lump myself in there thinking about it. I would certainly rather splash the cash on Tutti Andrade and kind of roll with him in his development over the next couple of years. But we'll see. There are multiple roads that Rodolfo Borrell can go down here as the summer transfer window approaches. And so I did want to mention this again. We put this post out this morning here, asking for listener questions. Once again, we talked about that on Wednesday's episode. But go ahead and get those in. We've got these posts up on all of our social media platforms. Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, Threads. It's all out there. You can leave a comment if you're watching on the YouTube here on this episode if you want to get a question in, or you can email us thenorthendpod@gmail.com. And this is going to be an episode coming up here in the next couple of weeks. We're going to get some listener questions in for, I think, just the second time in podcast history. Well, North End history, not podcast.
breaking news here. I love the little asterisks there. Other nonsense accepted. And from the ones that you've read me thus far, there's some good ones in there. There's some gems. So hopefully these keep rolling in and we won't have to reveal too much about ourselves. But
we've got a nice mix of Austin FC questions and nonsense questions, and some that kind of bleed in between the two. So appreciate everybody that's already sent in their questions. And if you have want to participate in that, more than welcome to drop your questions to us. Couple other pieces of news or just things to look out for here. Wednesday, June 25th, Austin will have a bye in the midweek 10 days from now. There will be a relatively full MLS slate that day, which will allow a lot of those teams in the West to make up some of those games that they have in hand on us. But also on that day, I imagine, on the MLS Countdown show on Apple TV, All-Star rosters will be revealed. The voting closed on June 11th. And so we will find out who is coming to Austin for the MLS All-Stars and how many Austin FC players are included. I still remain staunch in my stance that it will be Brad Stuver and Brandon Vasquez named to the team. And look, man, over the last 2 weeks, you did about exactly what you needed to do to further rationalize those two picks. With a Stuver road clean sheet last week, only got scored on an own goal this week, and BV, getting his goal last night. So I'm looking forward to hopefully getting those two guys. And maybe more, crazier things have happened with those coach picks. But I do think we end up with two here.
Yeah, I think those would be my two as well. And definitely turned the tide a little bit here with potentially swaying over some voters and also kind of easing over the fact that we're probably going to get two guys regardless. So at least you can point to these last couple games. BV with the goal last night obviously helps his case and everything like that. So we'll see. But I'm super excited for that, man. That's going to be fun. I've never been to an all-star game, like a professional all-star game. Never had the opportunity to, never thought I would ever go, honestly. But this is going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, certainly looking forward to that in July. We'll see those rosters in about 10 days. And again, also with BV, man, the last thing on that, there is a narrative. He just came back from Liga MX in the offseason, right? So I think he was with their All-Stars last year, and now he's on the MLS side again. I may be mistaken there. Either way, something I was thinking about, something else that all Austin FC, at least the season ticket holders, have been thinking about is that the renewals got announced late this week here, So it does seem like percentage-wise a lesser increase, rather, compared to the last few years. So I think our tickets in the North End went up 2.5%, something like that. Which again, I would love my tickets to stay the same or go down, but I think that probably just, stays in line with inflation, kind of cost of living expenses for the other employees around the team and things like that. I don't know. I wasn't nearly as aggrieved by this year's increase compared to some of the latter years that we've had to pay for.
Yeah, I mean 2.5%. That's totally fine with me. Yeah. We do need to figure out the 10% discount potentially, though.
That's a good point. Because that's one thing that came through with the email, that the club said that select concession stands, which I imagine are just kind of the standard ones they have set up, around, I don't think we're going to be able to get our discount at Double Dave's or anything like that. But 10% discount at certain concession stands for season ticket holders. And the last thing I need to know about that is, does that include the cheap beer? Because that's kind of all we buy at the stadium. We're usually eating before and or after, and you're buying the expensive beer while you're at the stadium if you choose to do that. So we would certainly take that 10% discount. and be very, very happy with it. So maybe we'll email our ticket rep. Shout out to Eric. Got to see Eric up on the concourse last night. We'll find out for the people.
Hey, we'd make that 2.5% difference up real quick if it's on booze. We'll offset that cost real quick. So we'll take that, get that figured out.
Oh man. Speaking of, seeing Eric up on the concourse, seeing all of our friends is another big part of a game day. So I wanted to shout out our buddy TJ, who obviously, we see a lot even away from the queue nowadays, but bought us some Driussi jersey trading cards, with the jersey patch on there. It's fucking sick.
You got yours right there?
I do. There you go. A little Sentimiento Driussi.
Oh, it's so sexy.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Yeah, that's incredible.
So shout out to Tej for that. Shout out to Sarah for the halftime beers. That was great to see our friend Sarah. Shout out to Big Fudge. Yep. Gave us his extra ticket, so our buddy Jones was able to tag along. Shout out to Jones, who is apparently BV's good luck charm. Because look, North End listeners, our buddy Rob has been to 3 games this year. Brandon Vasquez has scored in all 3. So again, I'm just saying the science points to Jones having something to do with our success there. So it was great that he was able to come along.
Norberto?
Anybody else? Oh, that's right. Norberto.
Yep. Yeah. Got to meet Norberto. I said he was a big fan, watched on YouTube and everything like that. So that was great to meet him. We were in the middle of the halftime powwow up there, which ranges in emotion. Sometimes it's not great to come up and say hi because we're all just like, oh, fucking.
Yeah.
But it was good last night, and that was great to meet him as well. It's just again, we have unified the good vibes with the dubs. We'll always take that.
Indeed. And I am looking forward to connecting with our buddy Jonathan, who hit us up on social media. Didn't get to connect in person last night, but certainly we'll do that soon. And let's go ahead. I don't know, 13 minutes into this, let's get into the game. And I do think this is the first time you talk about melding all the vibes, E. I believe this is the first time since August 2024 that the first and second team have won on the same weekend. So we will take that. Another streak ended by Austin FC here in the last couple weeks. Coming into this one, we did get that short-term call-up that we expected. It was Nico Van Ryn once again, so that was his 3rd of the season. Now both Van Ryn and Antonio Gomez have 3 of their 4 potential call-ups signed already this season. So you're running out of those, but hopefully Julio Cascante, who we did get an update on from Coach at 30 on Thursday's media availability. Hopefully he's ready to go when we're traveling up to Seattle here in 2 weeks' time. Apparently going to get back on the field for some individual work this coming week. So he is at least 2 weeks away. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him until July.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And again, this has been a lingering issue with him. So we're going to have to figure something out with the center back position because, as you mentioned, running out of call-ups here. But wishing Julio the best. No setbacks.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also got the update from Coach that Mirtu Izuni landed in Austin on Wednesday. He trained in full on Thursday, and he was active and ready to go on Saturday. But when the lineup drops, same 11 from last week. No complaints from me.
Absolutely not. What I wanted to see and what we called on the last episode there, obviously you and I are chatting before the match looking at like what we want to see out of the starting lineup. And the only thing we could point to was maybe you give Mirtu the go over Johnny. But we've seen Nico be willing to tweak lineups and formations and structural things depending on opponent. And at sometimes I think that he's over tinkered a little too much and gotten a little too cute, but stuck with the plan here. And I thought this was the right decision and obviously paid dividends with the result at the end here. So super satisfied with that starting lineup and building that cohesion and like having both of those sides be really active. And now once Mirtu gets going, which I know we could have gotten going real good last night, we'll get into that. But once he gets going and gets back up to speed and everything like that, he seems in good spirits. You know what I mean? We haven't seen anything disgruntled when he came on last night. He wasn't pouting and stuff like that. So like, moving in the right direction. Once these counting stats start coming and everything, then you have a situation where I could see him being slotted back into the starting 11. But this was the 11, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Mirtu was the one change on the bench, so CJ Fodre was up in Arlington with the second team. We also had Jimmy Farkland was on the first team injury report with the hamstring injury he suffered in Colorado last week. So Jimmy unavailable for either team here this weekend, and getting into this one, right off the first kick here, Savovich and Peter Stroud, who is the younger Stroud brother there. Probably shocking to nobody. I don't like either of those guys, at least while they're playing against my favorite team. But those two, Savovich and Stroud, bump heads on the kickoff. Both training staffs have to come out there immediately, and both guys were luckily fine to continue. But it did kind of get us off to a little bit of a bumpy start there. The game doesn't really begin until like the third or fourth minute.
Yeah, it looked really bad, man. And then I was happy to see both of these guys, get back up and be ready to roll. But it was a bit of a disjointed start to the game here with this incident.
So once we kind of finally get rolling here in the 5th minute, you have Austin in possession. And through the first half hour, Austin was controlling the majority of the ball. Heinzike in this moment takes a few touches to get past the Choupo-Moting and Forsberg press, little 4-4-2 action for Red Bull last night without the ball. So he kind of gets past that first line, plays a through ball towards Buka down the right. And then I didn't see this live, but we see the corner given. And on the replay, you can see that Forsberg did get a slight touch to it, which caused that ball to kind of divert from Buka and go out over the end line. So Austin gets the corner here. Owen's service finds the head of Savovich at the near post, and he does well to flick on. There's a call for a handball there, and we never really get a replay because of what follows this. After it deflects off that Red Bulls defender, it trickles back to the foot of Wolf, who just immediately pops it back in towards the top of the 6, where Guilherme Biru goes up to get it, heads it into the ground, and past Carlos Coronel for the opening goal. I don't know what the Red Bulls players were complaining to the ref about here, because I was watching Guilherme Biru do his Spider-Man celebration over there. Looked like he was probably making eye contact with his young daughter over there and having a nice little moment. So we love Biru goals whenever they happen, but this one a little extra special with the spice on that celebration.
I mean, Owen to Biru, this is like my fantasy. These are my guys, these dudes I love. So getting this ball in from Owen, what a just enough loft on it with a nice amount of touch where we have guys in that area, and Biru goes up and he gets it, puts it down past Coronel. I also did not know what they were complaining about or what they were upset about in this situation. I thought initially maybe a Red Bull defender was reacting to Coronel, thinking he could have made a better attempt on that, but that ball was going past him. Absolutely. Yeah. So what a way to start this game. And again, you looked at their team with how they set up, and we knew that press was going to be coming, but it looked a bit soft to me. It didn't look like the energy drink soccer that we have become accustomed to with seeing Red Bull and competing against them. Now this is the third matchup. So I thought it was interesting that they weren't full go, maybe something with the heat, some rotation and stuff like that, but great way to start this game. And like we said the other day, now let's see your response. What's the other card that you have to play here now? And I was pretty satisfied with how we looked until the own goal comes. And then I thought we took our foot off the gas a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think some of that, we can talk about it more once we get there, but to your point about Red Bulls not pressing as much as we've been used to in the past, it does seem like, and I think we mentioned a little bit about this. You may have even wrote about it in the article, but we've seen a little bit less of that on the road. We've also seen their home road splits be just completely night and day. I think they have 7 wins at home and 1 on the road this year, something like that. It is a drastic split. And it makes sense for those two old guys at the top of the press now that you wouldn't be doing that game in and game out. And maybe even especially against a team like Austin, who has been fairly successful in terms of generating chances off the counter over the last month, even though the results haven't really gone their way till the last 2 weeks. But shit, man, we'll take the goal and, up early here, 6 minutes.
Yeah. And as we're, before the match, we're pontificating and shooting the shit and whatever. Pep, man, he is the guy. What was his progressive passing numbers? way above anyone else on Austin, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you have the official.
He's the connectivity
Yep.
in the midfield. I can pull it up here as we're talking about it, but like we were, and sorry to kind of stomp all over your point here, but like we had those two starters, right, in Dessler and Danny missing for that long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
But the sample size with no Dessler and Danny still in earlier in the season before Danny goes down against Houston, like we were fine.
Yeah.
Right? Like not hitting our ceiling, but we were fine. And it was really like the offense completely shit the bed as soon as Danny got hurt.
Yep. And he looked great last night too. And we know that he's been stringing together a lot of quality play here. And like, it was just great to see him in good form last night. And just to the point to illustrate that, yes, I don't think with their older guys and the fact that we had Pet back, that this press was going to be full go on us, particularly with how we've been hitting the counters as of late. But we have digressed quite a bit here. 1-0, fantastic feeling.
Well, I will just to round out your point there about the progressive passing from Pereira, 5.47 progressive passes per 90. Owen Wolf is second among the guys who have played any sort of, real volume of minutes with 4.64 per 90. So again, Owen's still right there. He's the only guy within shouting distance of Danny. And it just doesn't seem like it works with just one of them out there.
I agree.
And I think we've solidified kind of going forward that those two guys are in the midfield almost no matter what, as long as they're healthy.
Absolutely. And then you can get Ilya off the bench later and hopefully close these things out with him and his defensive side.
Yeah, well, shit, man. He got turned around a couple times in the second half last night too. 17th minute here. You get Harper and Wolf going what looked like kind of knee to knee on that near sideline from the broadcast camera, and Cameron Harper goes down. And listening back, watching, the replay this morning, and the broadcast team is talking about, maybe VAR is going to go look at this for a potential red on Owen. I didn't see that in the moment. I didn't see a ton clearly down in that south end last night, I think. But even on like watching the replay on the broadcast, it's like, what? I don't know how you could watch that replay once and think that there was any sort of malicious intent or Owen being kind of careless with the challenge. It looked fine to me, and just unfortunate that Harper goes down. He ends up having to come off, so Sofo replaces him on that right side. And so like it's definitely a benefit that Cameron Harper is not on the field, but Sofo was pretty dangerous too.
Yeah, absolutely. He came in and made a real impact, and like he's not the quality of player of Harper, but he was threatening all night. There was a lot of situations where you and I were like, damn, who is that? Like, we didn't know at first, and then we're like, oh, we looked it up, and he was playing really well. I mean, to try to escalate this and be like, this needs to be a red is just preposterous. Like, you just skipped over a full card, and we're this early into the game, and like Owen hasn't had any disciplinary stuff, so like, shut up.
21st minute here. Austin gets caught pressuring near the midfield line on the east side of the pitch, and it's kind of like 5 guys who get drawn to 3 Red Bull players, and they end up being able to slip it out of that scrum and through to Peter Stroud, who's off to the races. And Dessler tries to kind of cut behind him to get back into position from where he was, and catches the foot of Stroud, trips him up. So yellow card to Dessler. It didn't look like Dessler meant to trip him up there, but what I said in the moment, I still stand by today. I will take that foul and that yellow card to stop that break, because it was turning into, it seemed like it was matriculating to be the first dangerous chance of the match for Red Bull. And ultimately, it is, because off that free kick, Biru heads it out for a corner. Then that corner's whipped in by Forsberg. Stuver punches it away, but the Red Bulls stay on it. They cycle it back to Forsberg, and he serves it back into the mixer. And as Brandon Vasquez goes up and tries to nod it away, it just kind of skips off his noggin and past Stuver for the own goal. I thought in the moment from our vantage point in the north end that the cross from Forsberg just kind of floated in, because his reaction was like standing there and like, kind of like like Frank Reynolds in the middle of the wrestling ring, right? The trash man, all of a sudden, the winner. And so it's 1-1, man, and feel bad for BV because, obviously you don't mean to do that. And I'm not sure what else he's supposed to do there. Like, I think he's doing his job trying to get a touch on it. It wasn't what we needed in the moment, unfortunately.
Yeah, super, super unlucky here. Just skims off the top of his head. Again, I just don't think he has a great vert. Like he just does not have a huge vert. And like, this is kind of why, because this ball isn't like particularly kicked with pace. It's not particularly high. You know what I mean? Just kind of like skims off the top. And of course, it's a perfect header that just slots past Stuver and everything like that. But yeah, I thought it was the same situation that happened with Portland, where they had that cross that just nobody touches and just bounced into the net. But like, I was sitting there with Uncle Dave and we were chatting and everything. And like, that position for a set piece has given us trouble this year. Yeah. Like and it's a dangerous position for any team. And I'd imagine there's fans of every club who can point to set pieces from a certain area that they've been struggling with, particularly ones in this type of a threatening zone. But like, we have really struggled with that. And like, partially, I believe because we have been on Stuver about not coming out, being more aggressive in his zone and going and commanding those balls. But another unfortunate situation here. And like I said, after this, I felt like we kind of let up. Like getting to the half, I just felt like we were just trying to get to the half at that point. We knew there was going to be a ton of stoppage time, given the Harper injury, given the headbutt incident in the earlier stages of this match. So like, this is like the 30th minute, correct? So you knew you're going to be playing for probably 20 more minutes here. And I just felt like we really let off the gas after this goal.
I also think that, and Coach spoke to this a little bit in the post-match press conference, where he said that the team took some of the halftime instruction in terms of how they were trying to build up through that mid-block that the Red Bulls kind of fall back into after they equalize here. I think part of it was them completely taking their foot off the gas defensively and trying to make us play through and or around them. And to your point, Austin struggled a little bit with that to close out the half.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So 33rd minute here, Forsberg plays Choupo-Moting through after an Austin turnover, and the Red Bull counter is on. But Alexander Svatok has Choupo-Moting corralled here as he comes down that left channel, ends up blocking the shot attempt, and then Choupo-Moting, trying to get to the rebound, trips up Dessler, and a foul is called. And right here is where we're at 32:52 on the clock, and the South End unfurls banners that say abolish ice and no ice in this melting pot, in solidarity with the 3252, the LAFC supporters group that held a protest for LAFC's last game. And you can certainly have the floor here to say anything you want, E. I will just say 100% with that. No Kings, motherfucker.
Yeah, right there. I had a sign. B gave me a sign that I proudly held up there, and I thought that this was a nice little moment.
Yeah, I agree. I guess, one King, Brad Stuver. 37. Okay.
Well, a lot of Kings.
Okay, many Kings. 37th minute, you get a yellow card to Peter Stroud for taking down Dessler before he could get through that New York midfield to start a breakaway. And then closing out the half here, 45th minute. There's a lot of Red Bull possession here to end the half, and I think you kind of see that on the momentum charts, kind of no matter where you look. But in this moment, Svatok steps up to deflect what would have been a line-breaking pass by Red Bulls. And then when he deflects that ball, Sabo sticks out his leg to redirect that loose ball forward, and it rolls to the foot of Owen. And he kind of takes it in stride, and all of a sudden we've got a 3-on-3 break. Owen's got BV kind of running the right channel as he's in the middle of the pitch, Galley out on the left wing. But Wolf decides to slow it up and leave it off for a trailing Bukhari, who's entering the 18 on the right with space. And man, Owen waits this ball, what I thought was as close to perfect as he could. And Osman has room to shoot, takes a heavy touch first, and then the angle that he ends up shooting with is way too narrow to get it past a guy like Carlos Coronel without just a lucky bounce there. And again, I thought Buka had another fantastic game. But this is the one moment where I will nitpick that I think it needs to be a one-time shot there.
I cannot agree with you more. I mean, this is just absolutely what he needs to do. Just rifle this thing, man. It's on your right foot. It's got the right amount of pace. Cornell is stuck out on his line here because he can't come out. Just have one towards the far post, man. And Johnny's over there. And like, again, totally agree with you. He had another good to above good game. I don't want to say great because I don't think it was a great game, but like this should be a scoring opportunity. Like I think you should score this, in my opinion. The break was really well run by Owen. BV makes that front cutting run in front of him, which then draws that defender, allowing Buka to occupy that space. And it all worked out really perfectly until he decided to touch this ball and not just blast it one time. So, yeah, I'm right there with you. I think this has had to be a one-time shot. And, like, again, a game last night where I think we could have scored 4 goals. You know, like we have the Owen goal taken back in the second half, and then we have this absolute windmill dunk available to end this game at the end, which we'll talk about and everything. But another game where you could have scored 4 times.
Yeah, so coming out of the half here, as it was 1-1 going into the break, no changes for either team at the half. So we'll pick it up in the 51st minute, where there's a long bout of Austin possession. As again, I put here in my notes, Red Bulls completely backed off defensively here and just pretty content to let us have the ball with the success they had with that to close out the first half. And so here in the 51st, Owen progresses the ball into the final third, then holds it up as Danny joins the party. Danny slides it out to Osman on the right, who's got a one-on-one against Edwards. And as Edwards kind of turns away Osman here on his first approach to the box, Dessler and Danny join him over there on that right side. Then Sabovic kind of trots over to get a touch himself, and he pops it between 2 Red Bull defenders to Osman, who chests it down to himself, turns on a dime, and darts through another 2 Red Bull defenders over there on that right to create space for himself to put in a cross, putting it low towards that near post. And Brandon Vasquez is there to pounce on it, poke it home for the lead. Totally redeemed yourself. And a Buka goal contribution, which we love to see.
Hey, we've been waiting on that for a minute now. Yeah, dude, just the turn here. It just, as soon as he gets your momentum stopped and then just goes, it's just like it's ridiculous to watch. He just glides past dudes. So heady play to get into that zone by Sabovic, I believe, and get him that ball there. Yeah. Well touched, and then BV running to the right spot at the right time. Great ball by Buka. We're up 2-1 here, and I think you start to see a more conservative approach after this, which I think was the right call in this situation because our defense has been playing well. I want to jump back to Svatok just because I didn't have a chance to jump in there. Sure. Someone as well who has been raising their level of play consistently over this past 3-game stretch here, I believe. So that's fantastic to see. I think he's probably, in my book, CB1 now. I know it was like him and BHI were kind of right in there. We're kind of changing it, but it's Svatok now for me at CB1. So this was a great play by 2 of the guys that we paid to score goals, and this is what we're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And completely second everything you said about Svatok as well. Yep. Obviously, at the end of this, he gets the man of the match and very well deserved. But the performances have been building. He's been stacking up good performance after good performance really over the last 2 months or so. And I don't know if you saw the picture from the celebration after this goal where, BV's doing his Superman, right? And Sabovic comes up next to him. And the picture they posted on the team's Instagram, just like the goofiest little smile on Sabovic's face. Like, yeah, I'm here too. Like, I can do the Superman.
Nice.
So literally off the restart here, Austin takes it off the Red Bulls near midfield. And all of a sudden we've got BV leading this counterattack. And he's got Buka through on goal, and the pass is heavy and out of reach for Osman. But, like, BV's got to do better there to set up his teammate, as he just literally got served one on a platter. But also for Osman, it's like, this is why you got to have one when Owen Wolf actually does the job of setting you up for that one-time shot. Because we've seen throughout the season that you're rarely going to get that perfect ball to you, just weighted so nicely where you don't have to do anything but take a crack. So that was a little bit frustrating. You see Osman kind of throw his hands up because he was, I imagine he was going to take that shot.
Yeah, he better have. I mean, look, like as good as things feel right now, we're still tied for last in the league on goals. We got 15 goals right now, and there are opportunities that have presented themselves in so many games this year, just countless opportunities where it's just like, have a shot. Like, let's have one here, or this is a wide open dunk and we missed this guy and everything like that. So there's still stuff to clean up as good as things have looked as of late.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to, at some point, right, you would think over the remaining, 15 games that we have left or something like that in the league, that we're going to break it open for 3 or 4? Like, who wants to be our Auckland? Give us 10 goals.
Yeah.
Right? Like, sometime we got to have a massive game, you would think.
I would assume. And I mean, I'd be even more content with just a couple, like three goals, like 2 or 3 games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's right there for us. So I hope that
we got to start with 3 first, right?
Yeah, I hope that before we jump to 10. And it just like it. I don't know, man. I don't think it's a chemistry thing at this point. Like I just don't really know what it is. Where it's just like these are great opportunities.
Yeah. I think there's still some of that chemistry stuff there. And some of it's just lack of being clinical in front of net when we get our chances. And certainly earlier in the year, some of the guys had the Y word, in and around net. Either way here, 56th minute, you get a double change for Red Bulls. Carballo and Lewis Morgan in for Stroud and Choupo-Moting. 68th minute here. So jumping ahead a little bit, Austin doing really well after the goal, kind of like you mentioned, to stay compact and keep Red Bull from finding dangerous chances. And like in this moment, they've been probing around the penalty area for an extended period. And Raheem Edwards has the ball on the left side of the 18. Mikel comes out to meet him and extends to make the tackle and gets the ball, and the ball deflects to Buka, and the break is on. But as that happens, Dessler goes down grabbing the back of his leg, and I think I slammed my seat. Just like, God damn it, because I thought it was his hamstring. Luckily, it appears that it was just cramps and he will be fine. So the play continues. Buka gets it to BV. He switches play all the way up to Gallagher on the left as Vasquez and Buka continue their runs. And Gally plays a ball towards Osman that's just out of reach, and Coronel scoops it up. And I think by that point, Dessler had got up. He was stretching his leg out. And so I was like, okay, it's a cramp. But still, let's get this man off now because we don't need a re-injury.
Yeah, absolutely. When he went down, obviously, I see you react. My heart kind of stops a little bit. But then I saw him stretching out. I was like, okay, he's totally fine. Yeah. Uncle Dave was freaking out. I had to console him. Like, brother, he's okay. He's going to be all right. So, happy to get him off as well after this situation because can't risk him. You just can't. He's so important to this team.
Yeah. The 71st minute, you get changes for Austin here with Azuni and Ilie coming in for Dessler and Sabovic. So, of course, moving Gallagher once again to the right back position.
Incredible.
Continues.
We can't not acknowledge it because it's just it's incredible. It's really incredible. So shout out Johnny, man. Just bring your fucking lunch pail to work every day, brother. Like got his little peanut butter and jelly in there. I don't know. Something Irish, some Irish coffee or some shit.
Yeah, man. Can't just gloss over that every game, the work that he continues to put in. So 73rd minute after the subs here, the ball's pinging around the midfield a little bit, and with New York chasing the game here, they're pulled out of position a little bit trying to win this ball, and Danny's able to find Bukhari with tons of space on the right, and Osman comes forward, slips it through to Vasquez in behind, and Vasquez takes a peek up. Looks like he's just kind of crossing it to the spot because it's not exactly towards any of the 3 runners he's got. I believe it was Azuni on the back post and then Buka and Owen Wolf trailing the play. But the ball kind of just like trickles through everybody and it ends up at the foot of Owen and he slots it home. And the fucking flag goes up, man. I mean, when he put that in, I don't think I've celebrated like that in a while. Looked up to the ceiling, just like screaming. And then you see on the replay this morning, the fucking celebration from Wolf too, man. Because that was, I think, would be his first home goal ever, right? And thinks he had, right? Like, I think. And just jumps up in the air, big old smile, and then turns around just like, are you fucking kidding me? And Vasquez was indeed offside.
Yeah, it was close, but he was definitely off. I think initially this ball from BV's trying to get back to Buka, but it's just got a little too much pace on it. Like Buka, it was a weird kind of thing. But I was also screaming and yelling. Like we would have had Biru goal, Owen assist, Owen goal here, just throwing a party for these guys who, are huge components of our team, but don't always get the glory of the goal scoring and everything like that. So super bummer to see this called back.
So then a double change for Red Bull. Gengar, every Pokemon fan's favorite MLS player, at least favorite U22, and Hall come on for Edwards and Carmona. In the 80th, you get a yellow card to Ella, I think is how you say that.
Yeah.
Ela, something like that. Center back. A handball after flopping down on that far sideline from the broadcast camera. So rightfully given there. In the next minute, you get Obrian in for Buka. But BV's being subbed off for Robert Taylor. And BV takes too long getting off the field. So we get that power play called against us. So he doesn't come in till the 83rd as Austin plays 2 minutes down a man. Davey Arnaud gets a yellow card on the bench, giving the fourth official an earful. And then once Taylor does come on, he goes to left wing. Mirtu moves up top in place of BV. And then in the 84th, you get a yellow card to Danny for absolutely punting the ball after a foul was whistled on Owen. I did not see that in the moment, and then I don't think I saw it on my first rewatch. I had to rewind it 20 seconds to see what the hell he did. And yep, punted it. It would have gone to the third row if he was close enough to the sideline.
I thought it was close enough where he could have gotten away with it. Personally,
you punted it off the screen, brother.
I mean, he kicked the shit out of it, but I thought I thought the whistle to point of contact with the ball was a small enough window where you had culpable deniability.
Okay.
Yeah, just learn some bigger words and then come talk to me.
Okay. Right? Look, bird law. 87th minute here. Kolmanich comes in for Guilherme Biru. And then in the 90th minute, you get a yellow card to balloon hater Alexander Hack for going through Wolf from behind. I don't know if that was just an in-stadium feature of the game last night or they caught the balloon rolling across the field on the broadcast. But we get into stoppage time here, and 6 minutes are given. And I want to know where the fuck that came from. Because you get 5, I think, in the first half, and with the 2 goals and multiple injury stoppages, and none of that. Did we score in the 51st minute? That counterattack right after the goals in the 52nd. Where is 6 minutes coming from? I do not get it. No water breaks either.
No, that was an absurd ruling. Are they obligated where it's just look, man, the second half has to have more stuff. Whatever you give them the first half, you got to do at least plus one in the second half. Because I honestly don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either. But 3rd minute of stoppage here. You get a foul called on Owen near the top of the box. And I think as we moved through the last 25 minutes of this match, the officiating became too inconsistent for my taste. It did feel like, and again, I'm biased, always talking about the refs at least a little bit, but it felt like some of the plays that I think were rightfully called fouls on Austin, Red Bull was getting away with similar or even more contact. Because there was 20 minutes before this foul, which this foul was not correct because Forsberg completely flops.
Yep.
Just doesn't even take any contact, just goes down because Owen breathes on him. And 20 minutes before that, Forsberg had trucked John Gallagher shoulder to shoulder, no play on the ball, launched him 3-4 yards. And the fact that was not a foul, but this one was horrific. So, again, inconsistent on top of this being a shit call just in a vacuum by itself. But then the free kick, man, I can't help but laugh because Brendan Hines, he's Scott Sterling incarnate at this point. It's every game he's taking a shot right to the dome, man.
Right to the
free
face.
Kick goes right in his face. And look, love you, BHI, because sometimes they bounce off his face and go in, but most of the time he's in the right spot and doing what the wall is supposed to do. But I'm glad he was able to continue there with this. His face was very red after that one. That was square in the chops.
Yeah, he got blasted.
So 7th minute of stoppage here, as if you're watching on the broadcast, they mentioned that the officials, I guess had heard over the officials' communications that they were going to take this to 8 minutes of stoppage after Heinzike went down. So in the 7th minute of stoppage here, you get Ilie taking out Forsberg in a similar spot to that previous foul. This time, definitely a foul. Forsberg lines up over it and puts this one around the wall, and Stuver parries it away out to the far sideline. That was the only shot on target of the night for Red Bull, again, to illustrate how good Austin was defensively and or how toothless the Red Bulls were here on the road. But as Stuver parries that away out towards that far sideline, Kolmanich sprints out there and gets to it before it goes over the sideline and just fires it deep where Mirtu runs onto it. he pops it centrally to Obrian, who's on his horse because he sees we've got a chance here to counter, and we're off to the races. Obi's in by himself on Coronel, and he takes the shot. Credit to Coronel for a save here. Again, this is the keeper leading the league in post-shot XG, so he's having a all-star caliber season. But goddamn it, dude.
Yeah.
Mirtu Azuni has the easiest goal of the season if Hader just lays it off. And I don't understand why it still seems like as a team we refuse to, once a game, make the final pass for the easiest chance of the night. And like, I guess Hader's maybe got in his mind that last week Brandon Vasquez looked him off and didn't finish the easy goal. So he's like, well, I'm going to get mine now. But, and dude, just like looking at Mirtu's face on the camera right after, he's just like, what do I have to do, man? Like, comes off the bench, good energy, working hard on both sides of the ball, tees up Hader. I mean, again, just like Brandon last week, if you are going to take that shot, you have to make it. You have to. Because the pass is a goal.
Yep. I mean, I don't know if it's a pick your head up thing or if what you're talking about, because that stuff can become infectious.
Sure.
Where it's like, you should have passed me the ball on a wide open breakaway and I should have scored, which happened to Hader. But it is also like, this is not the first instance with just these guys. Like Mirtu has done this to Buka.
Yeah.
Buka has done this to Mirtu.
Yeah.
DV has done it to Hader. The Hader has now done it to Mirtu. So like, it is a bit of a pattern, and that stuff can get infectious because it does just kind of like float around in the back of your brain. And I'm not saying that Hader saw a wide open Mirtu and just made up his mind where it was like, I don't care. I'm shooting this in this moment. But like, it still is in the back of your mind. If you're making a split second decision, that can pop in. But like, God, dude, these are just, I mean, like, imagine how many more, like how better we'd feel about our goal total right now if we just scored the 4 dunks that this team has had this season, where it's just like, I could have passed it and we would have scored a goal, So it's just like, we got to get that shit figured out. And like, sometimes we're overpassing, like with Buka earlier in the season. I think he had cleaned that up a little bit. Like, we had been overpassing before and then underpassing. And it's just like, we got to figure this out, dudes. Have to.
46% possession on the night for Austin FC. 15 shots to 6 in favor of the Red Bulls, but 4 shots on target to just 1 in favor of Austin. Austin creates 2 big chances. They miss 1. 7 corners to 2 for the Red Bulls. And then on FOTMob's XG model, we've got the recalc here. So it is now 1.25 for Austin to 1.09 for Red Bull. But when you look at the expected goals on target, there's the story of the match. 1.63 for Austin to 0.2 for Red Bulls. So some of the takeaways here, I know we've talked about this on previous episodes, but when you look at the table right now, unless we're missing something, and we, full transparency, I have not gone through every single team's schedule here in the Western Conference, but I feel pretty confident in saying that Austin has had the toughest schedule of any of the 15 Western Conference teams, because we have already played the top 4 in the West all 8 times, right? Minnesota, Vancouver, San Diego, and now Portland is up into 4th. And we played the road leg against 5th place LAFC, and we won that one. So, again, I know we have already highlighted the second half of the season schedule, particularly that 9-game stretch that we've been eyeing, beginning with the New England match here in about a month. But to get these 6 points this month with just 1 match remaining, again, this is the time to get everybody healthy, even the guys who have been playing all, 19, 20 matches, however many we have. I think 19, right, so far. To just, take a load off here for a week and come back refreshed and ready to go down the stretch. Because, again, like we mentioned, in the league, there is only 1 midweek match left for us. And it's setting up to be where I think it is, this has always been the case, right? That falling outside of the top 9 is inexcusable. Heads will roll as they did last year. But it's not that high of a bar at any point of this season to say that we should expect to be in the top 7. but I think that's just the absolute floor for me right now. Just based on the opportunity you have, this team should continue to get better on paper, right? Because you guys talk for months about building the chemistry and new coach and new players, and we're with you on that.
Yeah.
But like, we got to continue to see the progression, and we have over the last 2 weeks, right? I don't think it's all too different from what we saw in May, but we're seeing some of those lucky bounces come Austin's way. And even though last night, we had unlucky bounce off BV's head. But yeah, man, sitting on 26 points here, you're fucking fine. You're in a good spot.
Absolutely. And to your point, like, there's just no way that another team in the West has played a more difficult schedule than us at this point. I'd have to see it. Like you said, I haven't looked at everyone's, schedule and everything like that, but like, I would have to see it to be able to be like convinced otherwise. You're building some confidence now, and that's what winning does for you. Like, it gives you a little confidence. It smooths over some of the rougher edges, but like, we touched on these things here. There was plenty of opportunity to score more goals last night, but again, you dominated this game, one shot on target for Red Bulls, which came off of a set piece. I love seeing this new little heat map here where you're seeing the left side of the field really start to come to life for this team. And like, now you're going to get Seattle, after the bye here. And they're playing Botafogo, PSG, and Atletico Madrid, those 3 games over, I believe, the next 8 days. And they're already beat up. And in their last league game, they had 2 guys get red cards. So like, they are going to be very withered. And like, we looked at the schedule going forward, and this was one of the contests, one of the matches where it's like, okay, if you don't get a point up in Seattle, that's totally understandable.
Yeah.
But now you have a real opportunity, not looking too far ahead, where it's like they're going to be tired, beat up, and potentially have Duke suspended. I don't know how, we saw with what's his name getting out of the Open Cup with the suspension. Who was that?
Rosales. But that was disciplinary. Yes. That wasn't, that wasn't a red card.
That's true. Yes, I was mistaken.
So I think those guys have to serve it against us. And again, like, no Nuhu. Good luck, Seattle, with Buka over there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm with you. I don't think that with the talent of this team, despite how down we were on this club during the month of May, and rightfully so, we were playing horribly and like, it just wasn't working. I don't think 7 should be where you're setting your sights. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think you want to be above that. And I think this team is definitely capable of that. And we still need to see some things tied up, some loose ends, get shored up and everything like that. But with healthy Dessler, healthy Pep, we're a different team. And that has been proven now over having these guys get back into the rotation full go. So again, hoping that these guys can enjoy this break. I know that a couple dudes are going to be going home, seeing their families and everything like that. So like, I'm super excited for that. Get your mind away from MLS for a little bit. And then let's come back on, on the 28th or whatever it is versus Seattle and see what happens. And you could be feeling really good about yourself.
Yeah, and again, like I think we mentioned earlier, right? There's only 4 league games left until that summer window opens.
Yep.
So it's not just the guys getting healthy, it's filling out this roster that still has 2 senior slots open. Like, that is significant in a league where you only get 20.
Yep.
Right? 10% of our senior roster is empty right now. So, and we know that those spots are going to be filled here in about a month's time. I did leave this, the average heighted defensive actions up here because I thought it was very interesting to see that Red Bull's line of confrontation on average there was higher than their average this year.
Wow.
So they did press a little bit more than we thought. But, certainly I think still less than what we saw at Q2 back in 2022 or on the road in 2023, having to play this same club. Taking a look at the table, again, Austin still has, or most of the teams around, or all of the teams rather, in the Western Conference here have at least one game in hand on Austin. But as you said last week, I'm with you. Like, you guys still got to go play them, and we're racking up our points here, taking care of our business, and that's all you can do.
And we would assume that, given our assumption that Austin has already played the most difficult schedule, that a lot of these teams have to play some of the more of the high quality opponents in this Western Conference. So we're going to see that cannibalization. We love to see these draws for a couple of these clubs and everything like that. So they have to go play. You got to get points from those games, and someone's not going to, potentially. So you're in a good spot here, and there's still a lot of things to get better at. And like you said, reinforcements, I believe are coming. Like this is not a done deal. Roto's not finished. Stuff will be coming in. So this is an exciting time right now. And we looked at the schedule going forward and everything, and you just have a real shot to get up into that top 4. You really do.
To meet the expectations that we had in preseason.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
And it would have been a long, like if that all comes to fruition and everything, it'll have been a long up and down kind of season. But like it's much better to close strong than it is to start out really strong and then fade off, as we've seen in the past with this team.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nico in the post game touched on a couple of things, kind of like you hinted at earlier. He talked about the Mirtu Izuni is going back home once again. So came back for a couple of days, now going back to Europe. Osman Bukhari will also be going back overseas. Both of those guys need to see their families. And he also, I don't know what rule or what law this is, or to be honest, even where the Albanian national team was playing this past weekend. I wasn't that locked into it outside of just trying to watch the games. He said that Mirtu only got to see his kid for 10 or 20 minutes. So yeah, I don't know what's up with that. It sounded like it was in an airport, waiting room or something. So who knows, but regardless, those guys are going back home now and get the actual time off here as MLS goes on hiatus until the 25th, about 10 days from now.
Okay. We like that. That is really odd.
Yeah. I'm not sure what was up with that, but again, all's fine. He's going home now.
Yeah.
So, and Nico also said, this is a resume of the last month and a half. He said, I told the players we did good things throughout this month and a half. We didn't get rewarded. And I think the last 2 games, we were getting what we deserved to get throughout this month and a half. This is sports. This is soccer. And I think there are a lot of positives in these last 2 games. There are a lot of things to keep improving. And I second all of that. You probably deserve more from at least one of, the Atlanta game or Vancouver at home.
Vancouver.
Right. But you got the 6 points here in this month, and got to keep pushing.
Yeah, I like what he had to say there. There is stuff to work on, and we shouldn't be content with what this team is looking like right now, despite the fact that we've gotten some favorable results here the last 2 matches. So again, I'm excited, man, because like I mentioned, recruits potentially coming in, guys are healthy, building more chemistry, getting the confidence going, moving into a schedule that's nice and soft for this team. So there's a lot to be had here.
Anything else for you? Anything else for you on this match?
Damon, he pushed me. That's what I kept saying. When Buka, I think he gets dispossessed at some point in the north end, and I was like, he pushed him, and Damon goes, "Oh, he always gets pushed, huh?" And I'm like, so he told me to bring that up. That's all I got from the last night for that game there.
Come on down to Palmer Field where the champions play. Get ready for the game. It's last business day.
Last business day on episode 233 of the North End podcast. FCito up there in Arlington taking on the defending MLS Next Pro champions, North Texas SC. Of course, that is FC Dallas's Next Pro affiliate. So Copita Tejas matchup here on the road. And like I mentioned earlier, right, CJ was up with the second team here. So he gets the start on the left. Jorge Alistue was actually up top with Diego Abarca on the right, and Jimmy, like I mentioned earlier, out injured. Ruben Bonachera still also missing for this team due to injury. So your midfield was Irvin, Jacobaro, and Adrian Gonzalez. Then your back line, great to see Riley Thomas back in there after that injury scare, smacking into that post last week against Colorado. Chesla stepping in for Van Ryn at center back. Tony Gomez with the armband. Anthony Deanda there on the left. And Charlie in net. Like we mentioned on Wednesday's episode, this match happened at the same time as the first team, so reliant on just the highlights here. So what we gleaned from those in the 11th minute, it's a pretty nice North Texas possession here, playing around the back and then down the right through to Sam Sarver, who got past Deonda, gets into the box, fires a shot that does beat Charlie and pings off the far post and back into the field of play. So some good luck for Austin there. And then 2 minutes later, great through ball from who I think is Adrian Gonzalez on the replays. Very tough camera angle there at Choctaw Stadium. And it is still, I know I say this every year that we play up there, it is still really jarring for me to see FCito playing on the old Rangers baseball diamond there.
Mm-hmm.
So in the 13th minute, Gonzalez into CJ, and a good save by the North Texas keeper, whose name was Harms here, to deny CJ, but Fodre getting into some dangerous positions, as you expect when he's down at this level. And then Austin finally breaks through in the 30th minute. You got Abarca out there on his right wing. He brings it kind of back towards the top of the box to generate some space, to put a ball in towards the back post, where both CJ and Anthony Deonda are crashing the six, and CJ gets shoved to the ground, and the pen is rightfully given. And it is Alistue who steps up over it and slots it past the keeper. And Harms had guessed right, but Jorge put enough on this one that it got past him. And Jorge's second goal of the season, we got the lead on the road.
Absolutely. Happy for CJ. I saw man of the match for this game. So, we want him to get playing time. So, this is great to see. And to get a win versus a quality opponent here, that's great. And Alistue, man, I was very shocked to see him up front. But clearly it worked.
Yeah, and 68th minute here into the second half. It looked like maybe we didn't send any social media folks up there, because I didn't see anything about substitutes during this one, which is a little unfortunate. We know some were made. Here in the 68th minute, Austin gets a free kick just outside the 18, top right corner of the North Texas penalty area. CJ's over it. He goes low towards that near post with a lot of power, and Harms keeps it out. I thought despite North Texas dropping this one, their keeper did have a good match just from watching the 15-minute extended highlight here. And 3 minutes later, you get a great pass from Jacobaro to Micah Burton, who had subbed in, and Micah's in behind here. Him against the keeper. Keeper rushes Micah, just goes right around him. Trailing defender catches up. Micah just stops, let the defender go past. Little pump fake, let him fly by, and rolls it home for the insurance goal. So we're up 2-0. And so you mentioned CJ, man of the match on Fatmob's model here. He did have a strong game. But Jacobaro got the man of the match from the team. So just wanted to shout out Barrow as well for a solid game. And he did most of the hard work here on the second goal.
Very nice. And just super happy for Micah, man. Seems to be a long season right now for him, battling some injuries, not playing up to his ability. So really excited to see him get on the scoring sheet here.
Yeah, so Peter Grogan was the only other Austin FC player that came off the bench outside of Micah there with the goal. And North Texas does make it a little interesting here in the 78th. They get a corner, and off that corner, the service, it looks like Charlie kind of spilled it there, and the ball squirts around and ends up being poked into the back of the net. But Austin FC2 sees it out. And, if you've been following the second team along with us here, man, you know how big this win is for where the team is in the table right now. This puts Austin in 11th. And again, some of these teams have only played 10 matches. Some have played as many as 13. Austin FC2 has played 12 now. That is just their third win of the season, but up to 16 points, just a single point back now of that final playoff spot. So like we mentioned over the last couple of weeks, you're still right there, everything to play for, and a huge 3 points in a rivalry match on the road last night. That's the type of win you have to get into the playoffs in this next Pro League.
Absolutely. Yeah, great point. They're going to have to start racking them up, and this was a huge win there. A lot of season, not a ton of season left, but they got plenty of time here with where they're sitting, how close they are to that playoff line. You got your chance.
Yeah, looks like we've got, 17 games left? So only played 12, 17 left. Plenty to go here. Regular season wraps up for us in FC2 first weekend of October. So we'll keep it up here, boys. We will preview their next match. Actually, good time for a programming note. We do not have a Wednesday episode scheduled this week. We will take a bye with the first team. So Timbers 2 is the next opponent. This is Friday night up there in Portland for the second team. I think sometimes they do play at Providence Park. It does look like on FOTMob that this game will be played at Providence Park. So Austin FC2 playing in the first team stadium up there in the Pacific Northwest. And Timbers 2 right now is sitting below Austin FC2 in the table. So certainly a team that is vulnerable for Austin to go and pick up another result on the road. This one will be 10 p.m. Central on Friday. So a late one for those sickos who want to tune into some Next Pro Soccer on a Friday night.
Hey, might be a good chance for us to do a little watch party for this game. That might be a good opportunity. But
go.
Best of luck to the boys. Big 3 points there. Fantastic.
Yeah, well, and shit, I mean, no extended preview there, but I guess we got to do it. How much is Austin FC2 winning by on Friday?
Hey, let's keep this thing rolling. Getting to play in the Big Boy Stadium. I'm excited for that. Give me a 2-0.
Nice. I'll go 1-0, but still a rosy outlook for both of us. And don't care how you get it done, boys. Just bring us home the 3 points. And we will close out episode 233 with the nonsense. And I mentioned earlier, maybe a little braggadocious here. Because, I mean, we were sizzling earlier in the season.
Sizzling.
We're sun running right now, my friend. The underdog entry comes through. You're Evander, 1.5 shots on target. Buka, half a shot on target. I guess I'll take it. When he put that shot from a tough angle in there, they counted that. And then Pirani from DC goes over his shot attempts, which was a massive plus 8.23 units on underdog. And then we continue cooking the books, I guess you could say here, plus 3 units at the sports books here, and mostly on the back of our goal scorers. You get goals from Diego Rossi, Kelvin Yaboa, Hani Mukhtar, Petar Musa, Martino Hayda. Also had Austin FC plus 110 and Columbus minus 105 to take down Vancouver. So plus 3 units at the books. That is plus 22.78 units at the books on the season, plus 20.98 units on underdog on the season. So across all of our picks now here, 19 weeks in, plus 43.76 units. And look, for the uninitiated, if you stick around through the nonsense at the end of these episodes, but you don't know what we're talking about here, if you put $10 on every pick that we have given out here through 19 weeks, you would be up $437.60. So if you want to join us, you can sign up for Underdog Fantasy. The MLS season is here. If you want to make some picks on your favorite players in sports, check out Underdog Fantasy's Pick'em game. You choose higher or lower on between 2 to 8 players, and you can win up to 1,000 times your entry. Underdog is available in 33 states, including right here in Texas. To sign up, click the link in the description of this video and use promo code NORTHEND at sign up, and you'll get up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a free pick to get you started. So join the millions of fans who have won billions on Underdog. Promo code NORTHEND at sign up. The link to sign up at Underdog Fantasy is in the description of this episode, whether you're watching on the YouTube or listening to the audio version. So you click on that link, use promo code NORTHEND at sign up, you get your bonus cash, you get your free pick, and then you head back to the northendpodcast.com, which will be next Wednesday morning. We will have a picks article out, even though Austin FC is not playing. Full MLS slate, Wednesday, June 25th. Of course, we'll talk more about that on next Sunday's episode. Another reminder, no North End episode here this week on Wednesday. We will take our first bye week of the season, but we will be back for our regularly scheduled Sunday episode. And one more reminder to get those listener questions in. If you have something that you want us to chew on and discuss here, you go ahead and say that. We'll have some listener questions on Sunday's episode. So anything else for you before we get going into our own bye week here?
Happy Father's Day to all the Verde dads and dads out there. Happy Father's Day. Hope everyone enjoyed their day after a glorious 3 points last night.
Yeah, I think as our buddy Mike Cragnola put it in a chat that I saw, happy Father's Day to the breeders and the adopters in the chat. So happy Father's Day to everyone. Shout out EG. Shout out to Walt. And that will do it here on episode 233 of the North End podcast. We will be back on Sunday answering some listener questions and recapping Austin FC2's trip up to Portland to take on Timbers 2. And, of course, talking about everything else that happens in the Austin FC universe. Between now and then, enjoy your week, everybody. We will do the same, and we'll see you back here on Sunday for another episode of the North End Podcast. Until then, easy. I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Victory song.
Welcome to the North End where the passion's running high. We're here to talk football, Austin FC, our pride. ZG and E will take you on this ride. Week by week, side by side. It's Action 1, 2, 3. We're the rowdiest in town. The Pirates game and Uncle Dave and Big Fudge all around. We sing our songs, we chant as one. Through thick and thin, the match day's just begun. In the North End, we stand together. Through every game, through any weather. From the first whistle to the final blow, the North End will never let go. Under the lights of Q2, our home, our sacred ground. In green and black, we fight, our voices loud and proud. Trio sees magic, Bakari speed, Stuva saving grace. With every goal we score, the lights turn there.